Welcome to the Have We Made It Yet podcast, a brand new podcast. My name is Josh Yang.
And I'm Lucas Ng.
And we are your hosts for the Have We Made It Yet podcast, where we ask the question, have we made it yet? Lucas, have you made it yet?
Not at all. Josh, have you made it yet?
No, I have not. It's probably going to be a while for me because for me, I'm just starting out in comedy. I started out about 6 months ago, and there's no money in comedy in the beginning. Nope. What about you?
I definitely have not made it yet, but I am an actor, and I recently started that last year in May, and it's been a run-through of auditions, hopeful callbacks, very few successes, but the ones that have been successes have been really exhilarating, and I wouldn't want to do anything else right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Have we made it yet? Like, why did we name this podcast that, Lucas?
You know, because about making it, it means different things to different people. And towards us, making it, at least to me, just seems like a cool way to really heat check ourselves to see, have we accomplished our goals? Have we progressed along how far we've come along? And also just to catalog what our experiences have been so far. So the name, Have We Made It Yet? To me, that means, have I been happy doing what I've been doing, which is in acting? And that's what the name means to me. So have we made it yet? What does that mean to you?
Well, to me, it's kind of like the existential question that a lot of artists have. You ask yourself, at what point can you categorize yourself as made it? And you're right. Like, every artist has their own stage, but I feel like even when you make what goal you set out, like, once you get there, you may not feel like you made it.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's always something else that's pushing you to do better, or there's another objective, another goal where you feel like, you know what, if I get that, then I'll make it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a proverbial, rabbit at the end of like a greyhound race. Just like you're always trying to chase it, but you don't know what you do when you get it.
Yeah.
Because it's mechanical.
You hit that. There's this line in The Dark Knight when Joker says, I need you. Do you know what I would do if I actually caught the Batman? I don't even know what I would do.
Yeah.
So it's the whole thing, man. Have we made it yet? No, it's not really a destination, but it's a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah.
So we're having fun, man.
Yeah. And you know what? That's kind of, the theory, the idea behind the podcast is that we're both relatively new to our respective crafts. And for me, in comedy, I've only started about 6 months ago, and I've been only doing a couple shows a month, and so far it's been a great experience. But as I mentioned before, there's like no money in comedy when you start out. You're also not usually that good in comedy in the beginning. You kind of have to develop a reputation, and you know what? It's like making it in comedy. Is it when you can call yourself a professional comedian by doing headlining shows or frequent paid spots throughout the city? Maybe if you're able to, support yourself as a comedian, maybe that's making it.
True.
Or getting on a festival, like a Just for Laughs festival in Canada, or being able to do an international festival in the U.S., or like maybe the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, or maybe Australia. So like, once you do a festival, does that mean you've made it? I don't know.
No, that's true. It's like, for acting, at least for me though, one of my main things that I said that if I were to make it, I just have my parents stop worrying about me. But I realize that's an unattainable goal for a lot of Asian families because your parents are just going to be constantly worrying about you anyways.
Yeah.
So,
we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
I think the whole idea of this is, as you mentioned it before, it's like this might be a good way of keeping keeping track of kind of your experiences while we're trying to make it.
Yeah.
And I think we are in an interesting position right now because we're both a relatively similar stage, that as we go through these experiences, you know, we'll of course have a certain sense of naivete where we don't know what we don't know. And it's a experience and it's a process getting there.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we learn things, we'll be able to share them on this podcast to give the audience a sense of an idea, a journey from where we are in the beginning to maybe when we make it. So, like every podcast, I think in the beginning, we'll ask each other the question, have we made it yet?
Yeah.
And for the most part, for the first 2, 3, and you know what, for the first foreseeable future, it'll probably be nope. I don't think so. Probably
I totally
not.
thought you meant when you said first 2. I was like, first 2 episodes, we'll be saying no. I'm like, holy hell, Josh, you got some aces up your sleeves, man?
By the 3rd episode, I'll be like, yes, I've made it. I've made it wholeheartedly. Oh, it's so easy. I don't know why people were telling me it was so hard, but it's actually significantly easier than you think. But no. So, I think when we do that, and then later on we'll be able to bring guests. I think we'll want to do guests because, you know, we'll want to add some different perspectives. I can probably ask some comedian people that I know. Like you probably will know some actors, people we go to film school with. But I think we both really wanted to start a podcast. Like Lucas. So, like, what really gave you the idea to do a podcast beginning? Because we didn't really get to this. We had our own ideas. Separately.
The whole thing was, before I had just a trial run with a podcast with another friend there. We were just talking about any kind of current events that we had, any kind of aspirational things that we had up our sleeves and everything, any goals. But with the prior one, it didn't feel like there was a hook.
Right.
But until now, of course, after meeting you and realizing that we're on the similar path with each other in terms of our creative pursuits, that I think we actually have a hook that we can catalog each of our own experiences, talk about our different fields that we are in, although they are different fields. You know, comedy and acting is different. They have a lot of the same kind of hurdles that we always have to go through. You have to get up in front of people to do your comedy. Whereas I have to get up in front of a camera, which can be seen by many other people too. And it's a whole play on just physical interaction with other people that we have to put ourselves out there. That's why they call it a body of work. And I don't feel a lot of people can understand that. But I know that you understand it, and also I understand it. And so together, I feel we can do a podcast together to just enlighten people who are not in the industry, but at the same time, have like-minded people listen to us as we go through our similar struggles, because I know many actors, many comedians also have that same internal struggle of fighting it and getting something big together, and always realizing different milestones of saying, have you made it yet? You know? Yeah,
like I think throughout the podcast we'll be able to talk about the successes and the failures, and then go through our perspective on experiencing those.
No doubt.
For me, I think as a aspiring comedian, a lot of comedians are doing podcasts these days, and those are really popular ways of gaining an audience, developing a following, and usually that translates into ticket sales and being able to pull in audiences for shows. And of course, I'm only like 6 months in, so obviously I don't really have an audience outside of friends and family. But hopefully this is a good avenue for introducing me as a comedian to different people, and showcasing, I guess, my personality, my thought process, my style, in order to gain followers that way, gain an audience that way. So in a comedian perspective, it's a little different. So I knew I always wanted to try to do one, but like before talking to you, I didn't really know exactly what the hook would be. Like, I thought it might be just, finding another comedian, sitting down, talking about it. But, once we it was actually pretty, random.
It was.
Story, right? How we started out. Yeah.
I mean, like, back in November, right?
Yeah.
Watching The Irishman at TIFF, For those who don't know, that means Toronto International Film Festival.
Yeah.
Has a movie theater. So we were just watching. We were in line to watch The Irishman.
Yep.
And I don't know who piped up first, because prior to meeting up with you, I was at my buddy Jeff's place, and him and I were already talking about. We knew we weren't going to do a podcast together, Jeff and I.
Right.
But I was just talking to him about gear and what else, whatever creative outlets we could have. All of a sudden, while we were waiting in line for The Irishman, you popped up with the idea of, I want to do a podcast.
Yeah, because I was saying, it's like, well, the comedy thing's kind of, it's fun, it's, but it's like, I guess I should just start a podcast now, and then just like kind of sharing that, because we were with some mutual friends, Andrew and my roommate Ryan, and just like talking about it, and then you were like, oh yeah, I did some stuff with Jeff, and it was like, oh really? And for some reason at the time I didn't put you into the spectrum of the podcast I was thinking of, because I guess I was only thinking comedians at the time. But because you're in a different industry, like, you'll be able to say things that I don't know, right? And then I'll be able to share things that you may not know. And I think the whole the whole process of me learning your industry, and then probably
vice versa.
You learning mine, and I think just that area, I think, could bring up some good conversation.
Absolutely, man.
And not only that, we're both Asian. So we can commiserate on what that means in this entertainment sphere.
Yeah, man, it's a special experience that we get to go through, man.
It's a good time. We're at the precipice of the Asian wave. If not, it's already started. So we gotta ride that.
Ride it, dude. Ride it
to its end. And hopefully that'll help us, get more opportunities. But like, that's kind of how it started. And moving forward, we'll try to do it like weekly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Weekly. Yeah, looking for weekly episodes and everything. And it should be a fun process trying to figure this out, because at the same time, both of us are not tech geniuses too. We're figuring this out as we go.
Yeah.
If there's a behind the scenes look, you guys would probably just be like wondering, why are these guys even thinking about doing a podcast, man?
Yeah.
But we're doing it. And we hope you all enjoy it, because we actually do put a lot of time and effort into this. Yeah,
and you know what? It will get better.
Yeah.
It will get better because this is not the first time we've tried this episode one, this intro to our podcast. So it'll get better. We'll become more familiar with the format.
Absolutely.
We'll become more familiar with each other, even though we were friends beforehand. Which is nice. So we have a bit of a shorthand there. But I think I'm looking forward to the podcast. And how we'll be able to delve into our unique experiences and motivations, and be able to bring on some guests as well within the Toronto community, because that's where we're recording from.
Where we're recording from, not
from Toronto.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be fun, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. So that's just a basic intro to our podcast. And we'll be coming out with an episode 1 officially soon.
Look out for that. Yeah. It'll be good. All right.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. We really should figure out a specific outro.
We'll get a jingle.